Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Anime Lounge Short Flights. Today, we are going to be covering episode 4 of Hell's Paradise. As always, we are brought to you by The Anime Show. Make sure to check them out on Facebook and Instagram. Awesome episode. Lance, you want to give us a quick synopsis for what happened on this one?
Yeah, so in the last episode, we were left at a cliffhanger. Our main character was getting attacked by a big horde of monsters, and now we get to open up with that. So we get to see this awesome fight come out of all this. And then we get a head count of all the criminals that are left on this island, and we start to dive into their minds and how they want to basically get this elixir on their own ways, whether they want to team up or do it on their own or whatever can happen in the future. But we get to start really diving into the individual criminals. So, and they're all getting pretty interesting, and I'm liking them.
Yeah, they're all super unique. Start off with that dragon guy. I'm drawing a blank on his name. But
Oh yeah, don't worry.
basically, he got arrested because he chopped down the front gate of the no this lord's mansion,
Yep. All because
and
they were talking about just because he couldn't actually slay a dragon, so he got all cocky and been like, "All right, well, I'll show you, and then I'll just cut down your front door or whatever."
yeah, you get drunk people with swords.
Yeah,
So it was really interesting. And then his bodyguard, not bodyguard, but
the escort
yeah, the
guy,
escort, uh, Yamada
Fuchi.
Fuchi. Okay, yeah. His sword was super interesting because it had that hook on the end. Then, of course, the bad guy uses the hook to cut his
His
ropes, which was
restraints.
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that was kind of
yeah.
funny.
I got a good chuckle out of that one.
Yeah,
Just so nonchalant.
I will say that the show does a good job of making serious points really serious, but then kind of easing your way in out of all the seriousness that is this show. So I
Hmm.
really like that.
Yeah,
And then you get to see badass Gabimaru. I really enjoyed that.
yeah.
His
This is kind of where we get into like the real meat of this episode is where we get to find out how they're going to deal with all these giants,
Yep,
and a lot of stuff kind of gets in. We get informed about like where what there's like partial Buddha and partial some other
it's
godly
another
thing.
it's another religion. Yep,
Yeah, so like
religions that don't correlate with each other, but just happen to be on the same island.
right,
And
that threw me off.
then yeah, so Yuzuriha, who is the ninja who
Hmm.
uses her seduction against men to kind of get what she wants. And then, of course, you get Gabimaru is like, yeah, no, that's not going to work on me.
Yeah, he didn't want to fall for any of that. So
Which also led into comedy because he kept doing hand and arm restraints against her.
yeah, that was pretty funny. He's
But
got a
she,
wife.
uh, obviously, very important to him, which is good. I mean, that's his conviction, and you get to see it in more than one way, and I really like that.
Yep.
But she's very vital because she gives us all this information on these bugs that she supposedly used another convicted individual to as a test subject.
Yeah, I thought that was super funny. Like it was just like that fun anime thing. Like, oh, like how Fairly Odd Parents. Like, Timmy, where'd you get that? Oh, the internet. And she's just doing like the same thing. Oh, I tested it on that dude, and like
Oh,
it's
I,
kind of
I
funny.
did this. Oh, I did this and this, and it's. But then you have the very end of that conversation where he was like, "All right, you're lying to me. What'd you really do?" And you just kind of like, okay, so how much of that was true and how much of that was her bullshitting him? And I'm really
Mm,
interested if we find out more
yeah,
because Gabimaru asked for more information and she's like, well, now that we're working together, you don't get any more.
yeah. So I'm sure bits and pieces are going to be coming out here and there. He'll like earn some information or something.
Yep. Yeah, and so it was interesting because you basically you found out the only real danger that is going to oppose anything is going to be the insects with faces on them.
Right,
So I
because
thought,
those appear to be the only ones that can turn you into the flowers so far.
Yep. And so I think that's really vital. I think they're going to basically, oh man, I'm trying to remember. Was that Resident Evil where if you kind of just don't get their attention, you can just walk right past them? Aren't there some monsters in that? I'm drawing a blank. I know there's a game
There's
like that.
unless you're thinking of like The Last of Us or no, last. Oh crap! They just what's the HBO movie or
Yeah,
TV
it's
series
Last of
that just
Us.
came out? Is that
Yeah.
the last? Oh yeah, you gotta sneak around them and
Yeah, basically, as long as you don't really make too much noise or movement or draw their attention because of misdeeds, they're gonna ignore you. Is kind of how I took these Buddha monsters that you had mentioned. Kind of remind you of Attack on Titan.
yeah, immediately these things are really big and most of them are like smiling. So I'm like, and they do a lot of pan shots and they're like they just look stupid at sometimes and like with those big dumb faces that Titans have. I'm like, this is a complete ripoff of Attack on Titan. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who thought this.
I wouldn't say rip off. It's an inspiration because you have these
Okay,
fish
that's
things.
that's a nicer thing to say. Yeah.
Yes, I definitely not. I wouldn't call it a ripoff because they are unique and they're different, but very much I would call it an inspiration from Attack on Titan.
Yeah, that's
So it's these Buddha monsters are interesting because of course we get one that talks, and you're just like, what the fuck?
well, the second time, like a little bit of all of them talked. At least the fish talked, the insect face talked, and then they were just talking about like sins and stuff like that. And like that's why that blonde guy, Aza, the one of the brothers, was like, "Well, I'm gonna make my own destiny," kind of thing, and
Yep.
takes everyone down.
Yeah, he's the guy who's blind in his right eye. He's the almost the king of the bandits, you could call him.
Yeah,
And so he was super interesting. But really, my favorite part of this entire episode was seeing Gabimaru's ninjutsu abilities.
I would 100% agree. Yeah, that was really fun seeing him zip around and blasting fire out and cutting things down.
Yep, and then he's got that like glaze over his eyes where he's like focused on defeating the enemy, and that's it. Don't care about anything else. And
Right.
obviously, that's not how it happened because he ends up saving Sagari in the end of that fight, anyways. But it was just very interesting. Trying to think, that was definitely my favorite part of this episode was that fight.
Yeah, 100% agree. That was a lot of fun. I like magic power stuff, so drew me
Yeah.
in right there.
Yeah, definitely. And then I guess the last thing I really want to talk about is Aza and Toma. So they're brothers, and you would have never guessed that they were brothers.
No, not at all. But I thought it was pretty cool that Toma is the guy with the more feminine features. He's got the longer hair. He was one of the Asaman samurai people. So they made us feel or think that he joined that in order to break his brother out of like jail. And
Yep.
then they didn't necessarily get broken out of jail, but now they're in this island deal together and at least they're together and
Yep.
they seem to be a good duo when it comes to fighting and stuff like that.
Yeah, they kind of rely on each other without relying on each other too much, which is definitely going to be something important for the island. And you saw their goal, which was find the elixir, take the elixir, and then it doesn't matter what happens when they come back.
Right. Yeah, as long as they have it themselves, then they'll just live on forever and they'll go beyond kings of the thieves and they'll just be kings of the world or something.
Yeah, there was honestly, I think their thought process is the best. It's you can't die, so who cares if you're pardoned or not? You're good. You don't need to worry about anything. So I think I like their end goal the best. But of course, Gabimaru isn't going to care about an elixir of life because all he cares about is his wife. So
Right. Yep, I would agree.
yep. But that's really all we got for episode 4 of Hell's Paradise. Make sure to check out the anime show on Facebook and Instagram. See all that awesome anime content that they have. When you check them out, also hit our affiliate with Right Stuff Anime. Help us by helping yourself. Definitely can't go wrong with that one. Please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give us a thumbs up on this episode and drop a comment on what you think of Hell's Paradise. Have a good one.
Later, guys.